that was totally unnecessary. Just trying out my timers and things before the streams. But yeah, we're live.
It's
JP, good morning.
Bill's anticipation.
So much anticipation. Yeah, how you? So you were getting backed by fans since the last stream last week?
Everywhere I go, the people
they're looking at you
JP
differently.
From Kodu? I have literally tens of followers.
Tens of followers, yeah. It's a great day when you have tens of followers following around. Look, tens of followers when you're from a small town like me. That's not a small feat.
My ambition is to get more viewers than my daughter has on TikTok.
Oh, that's a smart one. Yeah, that'll just you can be an influencer. If you start doing makeup tutorials, I guarantee you'll get more followers on TikTok. And you not only will you embarrass her, but you'll also have more followers than her. And I'm sure
that's a double win.
A win-win. That's a double win. So what do we talk about today? I want to show you actually some of the stuff I was doing over the weekend, just because I've been stuck trying to come up with designs for my own events app that I've been playing with as well. So here is, let me share my screen and show you what I'm doing. This is the fun and games at the moment. So I've just made a simple feed with some, I'll zoom in. Oh no, zooming in on the wrong panel. So I've just made a pretty simple feed for events, segmented. Look at this lovely sticky tops on them and everything else.
Is this the homepage?
Yeah, this will be just the homepage for the moment.
Okay.
I'll probably add a calendar to the side here as well and change the banner. But I just wanted to get some ideas, and I just put in some loads of mock data. Got Claude to generate a load of mock events, which is pretty handy.
And this is Supabase in the background, Postgres.
Supabase, yeah, Supabase in the background. Now this page right now is completely static because I just wanted to mock up the designs and whatever else. I do have real data. Okay. We go into a real example of an event. So here's the event itself, Ben, which I'm looking at as well. So
okay, cool.
This is, say, location, everything else. This big blue box will become the map showing where we are as well. I have everything there.
What mapping software are you going to use?
Mapbox is what I have set up, because I wonder what the endpoint is for that. Let me check because I am going to quit out of it to go over some of the Kodu code as well in a minute. But I have, I want to show you. It's really cool. Let's see. I'll zoom into this. Close all. All right, Grant. Who cares about red for the moment? What do we have? With dashboard, my group, my events, create. My events, create. So that's where we are. In the page itself, we have the Mapbox stuff. But interestingly, I use this in where is this autofill, which is really cool. So I use this autofill thing.
You can probably see a little bit. It's text very small.
Okay, yeah, there we go. You probably see it now.
It's better. Yeah.
So you get this autofill stuff from Mapbox, which was really good for my creating events. So if I go, what is it? My events create. I haven't looked at this in a while. It could be broken. See if that's actually the. Yeah, okay. So say this is my dashboard in the background. So if I'm creating an event, whatever, choose that. But what I have in here, which is really fun, is I can say Stevens Green. And you see, I have all this autocomplete here.
Autocomplete.
Yeah, and I picked that.
Is that from Mapbox as well?
Yeah. And
Cool. Yeah,
you'll
that's
see
good.
this little nice little tick animation and everything else. What that does is it verifies that I have the coordinates to the place. And by having the coordinates to the place, it means I'll be able to very easily query by the location itself as well. So like I can say, give me within 50 kilometers of that location. So if you put into your address
Nice. Yeah.
where you are, you can find events that are near you personally as well. So the querying is pretty cool. Using Postgres GIS on that as well to do the querying, but it's pretty nifty. And the form itself is fairly intuitive, I think. We have a start and end time. I could probably do some more cleanup there. Public, private events.
This is the template for the form that you got from Catalyst, right?
Yes, this is what it inspired me. This is what
this
like
this.
Yeah, this is one of the layouts.
Yeah.
This is one of the layouts of this. I use this as a starter point for it because I think it's very nice. Looks good. So that's why I'm going to keep that. It gives us a dashboard. Obviously, I've completely hijacked all this stuff and changed up the forms and everything. But, you know, we have these kind of things. If I hit a hybrid, then it needs a Zoom link as well. Or if it's online, only need the Zoom link. Guest limits and all that stuff as well. So it'll be cool. I think it's going to be a nice app to use to create events. And I'm hoping that I can get this open sourced for Hacktoberfest as well as another project to work on through Hacktoberfest alongside our Kodu stuff, as if we weren't maintaining enough. Oh, JP's jumped off the stream there. He's got too excited. He's had some issues with his internet this week. They're not coming out to fix it until Friday, he says. Oh, that's what he's telling me. I guess that's so he doesn't have to work. So some of this stuff here, though, is pretty cool. I'm very excited about getting some progress on the events app, though, because it should be fun just to have an open source meetup replacement. That's the plan anyway. We will see if it works as well as that, but hopefully people will use it. I'll use it for the Kodu events that are coming up. Oh,
I dropped him back.
You're fine. That's all right. I was just talking about you're going to send your tens of fans after the internet providers now for disrupting your.
No specific internet provider, or
no specific one. It's Virgin Media Ireland. The pricks. You're the worst.
Yeah, so I'm on hotspot on my mobile phone, so I'm probably going to be dropping in and out.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so that's fun on the thing. It's starting to come together, though. It's nice. We have all the bits there. It is saving all that to the database. It's creating everything. I probably need to add some tags and different bits, but I was spending a lot of time on the pieces itself, like the. Oh, hold on. This is great. Yeah, on Twitch. Yeah. Great to have a button to add a Zoom or Google link, not copy paste. Oh yeah, that'd be an interesting one. That's actually an interesting feature. I'll add that to my roadmap. You know, where you can just add a Zoom link, just create one, generate it. I bet you that's a fun one to try and figure out. Generate.
James, drop a like who's watching.
Yeah, that's the important stuff. I like that. Generating links. That's a smart one on how we could generate a link on Zoom. I have a notepad here. You know, I could put it in my laptop, but I feel like I remember things better if I write them down. Zoom, Google. Sweet. Yeah, nice.
So
yeah.
So you've this initial homepage done. You have the form for entering the event data, and anything else you've been working on, or is
no?
Connecting it up to the back end as well.
Yeah, yesterday I spent this because, like, again, I'm going to probably have to do some mock data. This is actually something I was thinking about. You know, when you're seeding the database, as we update some of the Kodu stuff, we're going to have to remove some of the seeding because we seed a lot of events and things in the Kodu database. And for folks that don't know, we had an events app put into Kodu last year for some of this stuff, and we decided to pull it out. Well, I decided we're going to pull it out and do a separate events platform for communities as well, because I like to help a lot of tech communities grow. So why not just build some community platform for everyone as well, especially the events side of things. But yeah, so this,
I think that's an issue already, but specifically the seeding part of it, we can expand on that.
We need to revisit that and make sure it's right, and probably clean up some of the migrations and things as well. Because there is some other things like indexing on the slugs as well. Might actually go into that. I'll just drop this as well for a second. But yeah, so this is it for the moment. I'm really looking forward to it. This is all I wanted as it for RSVP now. We will add in the buying tickets and things very quickly as well, because for the conference I'm organizing up the north, I will want to actually be able to sell the tickets on this platform as well, which is fun.
So I guess you're like looking at all the features that Meetup has and trying to implement something similar. They've been around for quite a while, haven't they? Meetup? They're
for the most part. Anyway. Yeah, for the most part, but a lot of it they do very badly. So, fuck them.
Yeah, they're not loved, I don't think.
No, they're not universally loved. I want to give people, to make your free events and have some fun. Where are we going on to next? Then you've been going through your issues like crazy here as well. We'll probably need to come up with some grading system. We might have a chat in our Codu discussions, or even on the chats now if there's people online or whatever, on what levels make sense for the difficulty. If it's
realistically, I think they're all pretty much good first issues, but I mean, there's absolute beginners and good first issues, with like good first issue can be a broad range. How much
good first issue, if you're only struggling with struggling with syntax, I guess beginner friendly is probably a tag we want as well.
Yeah, so you can create your own custom tags.
Yes, I can. Yeah, you can't, or can you? Let's see. New label. I think that's going to be useful. And we can use this beginner-friendly label. Because I think for some of this stuff, we want to make sure that we have... we could tag things as a beginner-friendly issue. And then from there, they'll be able to just use... or filter by this as well. I'm not sure if there's a standard tag. I'll probably have to ask if there's a standard tag to say beginner friendly on some things with this as well. But it's we'll use the beginner friendly tag, I think, for now. There's probably a standard for what that beginner friendly tag is, JP. I just don't know off the top of my head.
Good first issues, no? Is usually the one that I see.
Yeah, I have good first issue, but like good first issue might mean less setup or whatever else. But I think I'm going to add beginner friendly as well, just explicit, in case it's somebody that's new to open source. We can delete it after. I think you can add unlimited tags, so what does it matter?
Yeah, well, I was thinking as well, so I think I just got cut off while I was just about to say it there, that all the issues I've created so far are all relating to the onboarding form, and most of them are actually pretty simple. There's one that actually is the review of the settings page to use the new catalyst. That's a little bit more advanced, or it's actually more work because they have to swap out all of the original components and replace them with the catalyst components. But the rest of them are all pretty simple, easy issues. And I was thinking that we should create a meta issue for basically all of the onboarding stuff should be one meta issue. Maybe we could do that with tags, I'm not sure. And then the editor will be another meta issue. And then the course platform would be a meta issue because each one of those will have numerous issues.
Yeah, so like a master task, and then we can have a checklist under it of linking them to the other issues, and then we can have a checklist of issues on that master task, I guess, as well. So what we'll probably then want to add to this is feature. And then we can tag things as a feature. And the feature is going to be a grouping of all the other issues. That make sense?
Yeah, it does, yeah. Absolutely.
Perfect. And there were some little things I was noticing as well when we were going through some of this stuff as well, is on the Kodu site itself, there's a couple of things that we probably want as issues as well from the existing stuff. It's just stuff that's frustrating as well. These, say, popular topics or the bookmarks, if one of these API calls fail, it crashes the page. So there should be so it should be a boundary on the bookmarks or the topics itself. Yeah, because like it just throws an error up and it catches the error, the page error. So it doesn't show like it doesn't give us a sensible error here on this stuff as well. So I'm going to zoom in here as well. I should really just zoom in by default on this stuff so people can see it. But yeah, you can. We will get more space if I do this, probably. So you can add adding like error handling to the individual pieces, and even like starting to get the structure like a lot of newer Next.js apps where the page does the API calls and then you end up inadvertently passing the props from that main page down into the components as well for any of the client components that need it as well. So we should probably be doing the API calls on the server rather than right now we are, say, doing client calls for a lot of this stuff, and we're doing a round trip to the server, etc., all that other stuff that has to happen.
Just might as well use those next features.
Yeah, exactly. And it's an excuse for people to try out those features as well, because I know that's a lot of people like to use the code base for learning Next.js or contributing it as well. And then you've created a phenomenal Excalibur to go through some of these features and things. Also, if anyone has any questions about some of this stuff in the chat, just let us know. Happy to kind of go over any questions about the code base or our platform, whatever else as well. And then this image I really do need to fix, because I've seen so many people take this out on mobile and not be able to scroll down because it's not intuitive to hit the old button here.
Yeah, well, we can add it to be removed, but we need to have something to replace it with.
Well, right now we could even say on mobile to stop the parallax effect on mobile,
Yeah. That would be the easy way.
That's the quickest win for this before we get to the new designs, because we might start putting in some of the new designs like the editor and things like that as well. We'll go over some of the stuff that you have here as well. So
do you think the
he was about to say something mind-blowing clearly as well? That's usually what happens when he's dropping as well. Give him another chance, and then I'll go over these things. So we have the settings page that we're going to create some issues for. We have to create a migration script. So we're adding an onboarding flow, and the settings is no longer in sync because of this onboarding flow. Yeah, that's actually a smart one as well. On the parallax, you can just transform to a moving animation and not parallax. Yeah, if that's allowed on how we can handle it, it'd be useful if there was still a little bit of motion, because it's a nice motion effect. If we could add like a bit of a motion on it instead of it, so we can have a look into that, see if it's possible. Worst case, we'll chuck it out. We do have new designs that I'm hoping will be even cooler to replace that very soon. But yeah, that could be very nice as well.
Mm-hmm. I think I got cut off there again.
Yeah, no panic.
Did you hear what I was asking? I was just basically saying around the error boundaries. Okay, so we'll make two separate issues out of that. One is the error boundaries and for the crashing API calls, and the other one is how the API calls are actually made.
Yes.
Or like, do you want to make that one issue for someone who's looking to learn next, or maybe has some knowledge of it but wants to expand on it?
Yeah, I think we'll go page by page with some of those issues as well, because the last thing I want is somebody new coming into the code base and having to do a big sweeping change like that. That's horrible, and it gives more people more chances. Like, again, they can pick up 2 or 3 issues on that. We don't want big, like, again, the less lines of code change per issue is always safer when it comes to these things as well.
Yeah, so I guess the question more is like how to break that down into issues then. What are the separate issues? The error boundaries and the error handling. That's one issue.
Yeah, we'll pick that. Yeah, so we'll pick them up as having error boundaries on those parts, because it doesn't make sense. Also, I think for, say, the bookmarks, for instance, it doesn't make sense probably to block the page for the bookmarks, for instance. For SEO, we want to have, say, the homepage with articles changing. But for like recent bookmarks and things like that, it doesn't really make sense. And I think the popular topics could be hard coded. I'm not even sure if they're dynamic at all anyway. So we could be all right with that.
I don't know if they are or not.
We'll have to have a look into that. Again, we'll probably have to look at the code base as well. And see. Hold on, I'm going to get rid of this one. Kill that server and start looking at the code base as well in a second. And
dropped again. You were being quiet.
No, you didn't.
Do you want to to the Figma?
This one,
so yeah. So like these are just ones that I've created. I've just put a tick beside the issues I've created. So I think the settings page or the onboarding bit, that's kind of complete now, or as in we have created all the issues.
Issue-wise,
onboarding,
work and education. I need to give you some drop down for years of experience. What's the standard that people are asking for? Does anyone actually have a good pattern for what years of experience we should have? This is why. Which best describes you is what I have. Yeah, 0 to 30. Don't depress.
Yeah, the best describes you is working professional, current student, or none of the above. And
yeah,
I guess
we probably want to add more in here, because which best describes you is probably a few different things. And like, if you're a working professional, how many years experience? We probably want to toggle that in. If you're a working professional, that it has the years of experience.
Yeah. So in the issue, I said they can use either an input or a drop down. I kind of left it open.
We'll do I'll add a range in there, because I think like 1 to 2 years, or 0 to 2 years, 2 to 5, or 3 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 plus, or 11 plus, makes sense, because then it's just a case of how long they've been, it's 1 or 2 doesn't make a difference for the most part. Again, this is just so for our partnerships that we get on Kodu. A lot of our partners like to know who in the ecosystem they're supporting, how senior they are, how junior they are, or if it's worth partnering with us to get access to talent as well.
Yeah, so I can update that topic then, and I'll just put in a range like that: 1 to 0 to 2, 2 to 2 to 5, maybe.
Well, it's
or
3
whatever.
to don't, because I always do that and it ends up over. Don't make sure the numbers don't overlap, because I'm always because if it's 0 to 2 and 2 to 4, you get what I mean. If I'm on 2, what do I pick?
So. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
actually, if in one of the issues, the issue was that when a new user joins on, they'll be asked to go to the onboarding form. But when one of the original members logs on again, they will be prompted to go to the onboarding form. But we want to give them some kind of a message to the older users.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just right now in the issue just says a message, but I think that's probably something you should write yourself, or give me an idea of what you want. So when we redirect, it's the top one there on the onboarding, I believe. Is it? Yeah, so it's an onboarding complete checking. And if
so we need to add a message.
Current date.
Oh, changing your text. You shouldn't ever give me edit access to this. That's a terrible idea.
It's true.
I can't be trusted with technology.
Just a simple message.
Yeah.
But
message for existing folks. Okay. Would you tag me in and like literally create an issue for me to come up with a message for existing folks, and tag me in it? Because this is, again, I like to have all these things on GitHub in work, my day job as well. I tend to just make issues for things, or else I don't do it. It's not real unless
when the issue that exists, I'll comment on it and I'll tag you in.
Yeah, tag me and I can update it.
Sometimes I don't like when the comments are overwhelming on GitHub. I remember Carolina was mentioning this, but yeah, it's definitely true, especially with like CodeRabbit. It takes up an awful lot of comments and you can miss things easily.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a separate thing.
We'll see.
So this is the editor.
We've gone CodeRabbit if it gets messy.
No, it's really good. It's just it takes up all the comments. We went over all of this last week. The editor, nothing's changed here specifically, but I haven't created any issues out of this, but I will over the coming days start breaking this down.
Amazing, yeah. Because right now, there is issues that don't know, like, this is the current editor and it's just a markdown editor. It's nothing too crazy, and we're trying to make a WYSIWYG editor inspired by something like Medium, Notion, kind of a blend between them, taking my favorite features of both, because, you know, I'm selfish and I want it to work for me. That's the main thing. The media stuff like that. Yeah, there's just some really fun, meaty issues in here as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there's lots of issues, actually. There's lots of, when you break it down, there's lots of easy issues, but there's a lot involved overall. So yeah, this is the
Did you mock this up yourself?
I am quite the designer.
This isn't bad. This is not too bad at all.
Well, I'll let you know a little secret. It's pretty much just copied and pasted from the original design. So,
well, you should have took the credit for it.
Yeah, start at the top there. I can't remember what I wrote. Just
right. Yes, this is the big feature that I want over Hacktoberfest, something new. So we've talked about a lot of technical debt and edits and updates, and it's nothing like game changing for Kodu in a whole. So I think the course platform is the big thing that I've been saying I really, really want.
Yeah. So right now I'm just thinking, how do we implement it? How do we put it in the database? What pages are required? And a course overview page, obviously that's below there. And the course overview page will just be introduction to courses and then cards for each of the available courses as more are added. And I said sorting, filtering logic, because if it gets to the stage where there are more and more courses, you want to be able to sort them somehow by tags and stuff. So if you just jump down then to the actual course page on the left. Yeah. This is the index page. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the home page for courses.
Yeah. So the card, I'm thinking.
This is how I'm going to spell JavaScript from now on, by the way. I just see JavaScript. It's a great
another copy paste job.
I don't know why I find that so entertaining. That's the nerdiest thing ever that I'm getting such a nice laugh at it.
Well, you are a nerd, let's be fair.
No, not me. Yeah, okay. So the code of course as well. This is a good first draft of this stuff as well. Like, again, simpler the better for these things. I'll probably annoy like Jay or somebody to make these things a little bit more fun as well. But this is perfect.
Yeah, so like a standard for the card, which could be like an icon, title, description, picture of you, obviously.
And you know what? I think for the first draft of these things, we can just use mock data. We don't need to think about the database. You don't need to think about the back end. We can just hard code the data for these pages for the first draft. Maybe have a little config file for the courses themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Because initially, we won't even have the courses because they have to be created as well. And
well, I think these are the ones that exist. The introduction to CSS.
Oh yeah, the text ones. Yeah. We're gonna put them in as text based, aren't we, to start? But I would like to make sure that we have the video editor when we launch this, say, with a video course available at the, say, end of November or that as well, when we can put in a full video course for our introduction to HTML and an introduction to CSS. Then move on to the JavaScript. I am doing Postgres right now, and then it will be Node.js and Express.js. Potentially a React Native course because we're playing a lot with React Native as well. Next.js potentially, and also I'm dying to do some Rust myself, so making a Rust course would be fun.
Okay, go for
lots
it.
of fun.
Have you ever done anything with Rust?
I have a rusty car. That's probably about it. That's about it. No, yeah, I've done a tiny bit.
The one everyone wants to learn.
Yeah, I've done a tiny bit. I've seen. The most I've done is looked into code bases with it as well. There's some good excuses to do it now, even with Postgres, which is why I'm going back down the rabbit hole. I was telling you about, like, in Supabase you can make Rust adapters to connect external data sources from, say, a spreadsheet or Stripe or something else, and have those as data sources in your database, but they are just like proxies nearly, that you say you query a table that doesn't exist, but you're actually querying like an API and everything else as well.
WebAssembly with Rust.
WebAssembly is another great course that I think coming up as well. And there's also a lot of the even potentially Python, which I do know as well. Python and some of the AI stuff as well, like prompt engineering or building AI applications that people should be looking at as well, that are very useful. Like, there's a ton of things here. I've given so many workshops in person over the last few years that I'm going to just have to start, building the structured online course as well.
The amount of courses is pretty much endless. That would never be a problem. There's always
zillions. I'm just getting excited. I'm really excited about this. This is something that's slowed me down on both my content creation and everything else, is because I was dying to have somewhere to point people to go that is Kodu specific, and not just like YouTube and not just Instagram or one of these other places. I want to make sure that even though it's all still going to be free and whatever else, that we have somewhere to point places that they can save their progress and everything else as well.
Yeah, so like, I guess the point of this right now is to kind of break this down into issues of how we go about creating this. So like, this is obviously a very rough first draft, as excellent a design as it is. It does require a lot of work. So I guess we need to...
I would split this up into, and because we don't have the new design, and we won't have the new design for the for the launch of this or working on this during Hacktoberfest. What we should do is basically in a rough sketch of what these things should look like in the sense of title, description, title, like have that layout and draw it in a more rough way. Maybe the card we can update to do it in like our black card for the moment, or whatever color we're using for this page, so that it's similar style. And all that we have to update then when we go to this new styles is the background and the fonts, basically. That makes sense.
Yeah, well, I thought it might be a good idea to start migrating over to the new styles, but
yeah, like, that's a whole other issue that I don't want to get into, and complex things when you're making a new design and also thinking about reuse of old designs and all of this other stuff. It can get very confusing. So I would be on the side of forget about the styles in this issue and think more about structure. Because it's very easy to say, make this black or blue,
okay, well,
or navy or whatever it is.
From a structure point of view, then, so each of these cards, like literally what we've got here, as in icon, description, title, and then something about like information about the course on the right-hand side here, and the instructor of the course. So these are all things I have in there now. Anything else you think should be added or taken away?
Yeah, like I probably wouldn't even, because I'm going to create a lot of these courses, if not all of the courses initially. There's probably no need to put me down as the author of things.
People love to look at your face,
I have been told
that target.
My reverse OnlyFans, where people pay me to stop sending them photos.
Yeah, service worth paying for.
Yeah, I think we can probably even this up. Look, this is a great start structure. We can revisit the design on this. I think just having an issue of saying this is a courses page with a very simple layout with cards, because the other thing we need to basically make sure that this works on mobile as well. So we'll have to give a layout for mobile and a layout for desktop and make sure it works as well on those things.
Yeah, I guess like I'm definitely not a designer and I don't want to be, but it makes it a lot easier to create an issue if we say this is what it should look like, and the person
I can get on that. So let's make some issues for me to create designs for these things as well. I can go away and do these things.
Make issues for Niall. Story of my life.
Niall has many issues. The reviews as well, probably not that important early on as well. I do think the time and chapters is probably very useful.
Yeah, well, I guess that the time is more for if there's actual videos, which there isn't at the moment. Yeah.
But still, even the time is useful for text as well, because we can say it takes 20 minutes to read an article. So we already estimate that on some of the articles.
Very rough estimation then
but even with video content, it's not, well, I guess you can be very accurate. You can say video content, but I know like people say like, how long does a course take you? And you can say that the time is 3 hours, but like, is it 2 or 3 days you should be spending on this? Should it be spaced out? There's a lot of things that like you could watch an introduction to JavaScript in 1 day and not learn anything because you haven't taken the time to think and do problems and homework or whatever else as well. That's just me probably overthinking that side of things, but I think it's definitely worth.
But I guess it comes down to the issue of like what we're looking for on this card, as in this is what I have here at the bottom, like course title, course description, icon. But yeah, so these, but one I left a gap for the stuff that might be like
this is a great one. So we'll create 2 issues here. One for the courses page, which will have coded courses with the whatever introduction, and then we'll have a list of cards, and then another issue for that cards then as well. And those cards will create designs for, and I will create a little design for the courses page layout as well, stealing what we already have. The rating, we can bin that. I don't think we need that now, and it's a whole feature in its own right. Because obviously they're just going to be 5 out of 5 everything anyway.
Yeah, I guess you're going to have a certain amount of courses. But I'd be the only one voting, so
yeah, I'll be getting 0. I hate working for this guy.
When we have when a person can rate it, we only allow the 5 stars. Don't allow any of the other ones.
Yeah, that'd be so funny.
Pretty good strategy.
You press 1, and an AI generates a great
review,
a fantastic in-depth review about how fantastic we are.
So again, this is just from when someone clicks on the course card, this should be brought to the course page. So we've got a course indexes page, and then dynamic routes for each course.
Yeah. Okay. So I need to do some. Yeah, I need to do some work on this then to make sure that we have everything sorted properly. Yeah. I need to do some work on this pieces just so I can get that mental model out of my head, because there's different things. Like there's the overview of the course when you start on a course page, you know, to explain what the course is after you click it, and then start course. And then once you start it, you'll see things like we might have text pages. What will they look like versus the video pages? What will they look like? So let me do some work on.
Yeah, well, I guess the way I had kind of done it was that chapter 1 is the introduction. So this is like, you could say that this is chapter 1 here. And this, what very, very basic sidebar on the right-hand side is just how you will be able to switch between the chapters. And obviously there will be a lot more detail in there, like as in completed or 50% complete or whatever. And if there's going to be quizzes at the end of each one, say quiz complete and things like that. And again, so we've got here the image of you and the ratings and all of that stuff. And I know you're probably saying it's not necessary, but like it is good to fill in some detail and gives the page more detail, really, with those kind of things.
I'm a big fan of less is more, and certain things. I think the more we don't have to include, the more noise that we can get rid of is also easier for when it comes to like mobiles as well.
Yeah.
Because fitting this all on a mobile is going to be a disaster. So,
yeah, I guess the sidebar would be swipe in, some kind of side swipe.
Yeah, we can figure that out as well for those layouts as well. And then, okay, so this is, I need to do some work on designs for this, so it's easy for us to create issues then separately. Because then it's a case of so we can have people do the front end, then people do the back end. And
so the more solid the design is, that we can say this is exactly what we want, the more chance someone's going to take it as an issue. Because like if you're just a general saying we want a course page, they're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, 100%. I agree, and I'm glad you took a stab at this, because it's able to kind of put in my head get out of my head what I'm thinking or not thinking for this.
So you're just looking at this now and going, "This is terrible. I'm going to do this properly." See, that was my motivation.
Yeah, correct. That's exactly what it is. And it worked.
It did work. Yeah, so this is the stuff from last week. It's just the inspiration from Egghead, Udemy, and I've been kind of playing around with Egghead, and it's pretty nice.
Great course platform. Yeah, it's a nice course platform. It works very well. So yeah, we'll get Egghead, list the rules, guidelines, avoid meta discussions. I really like that on the discussions on Egghead, that they say, you know, don't do meta discussions. Every video stands for itself, blah, blah, blah. Then 3 sections. Like these are all 3 issues we can have if we have the designs for these people, is like person creating the quiz side of this, as well as like the quiz look versus the interactivity versus everything else as well. So there's some really fun stuff we can put in here. Then text only course or text parts of the course, video, quiz generated server side, quiz min marks required. No, we're not going to do that. So say no. Computer says no. FAQ, yeah, we can have that in. I think when we have the discussion on the videos themselves, the FAQs will be easy to find. Protect route sign in for courses. Yes, and this is just to make sure that I don't absolutely get blasted by random costs when I don't know where all the costs are coming from or where it's being used from. Just protecting it is useful that crawlers don't just start running up my bills, because there's like AI scripts that are going and crawling videos for data and everything else as well, and I just end up with massive bills if I don't protect route for the courses.
So you have to be logged in to do the courses, basically.
Yes, and that's another thing as well, is the progress saved when you're on courses. Like, you should be able to see where you left off as an option. You know, when you go onto a platform and said, "Oh, this is where you are in the course," basically. So it saves where you are, and you can go back to it as well as the progress saved, because we'll potentially want to give certificates as well at the end of these things.
Yeah, makes sense.
What else do we have?
So how do we go about doing that? Saving it to the user.
Hey, I just come up with problems. What are you talking about?
You're the issue maker.
Yeah, I am the issue maker. I just come up with problems. You know, I'm doing the consultant thing. I'm just telling you how wrong you are. It's not up to me to solve it. The progress saved. Basically, when you go into a video, you should mark that as started. And this comes back to user metadata that I talk about a lot, about the statefulness of a user. So as a user clicks on something, we store some metadata to the user, say current video. But if they complete it, they'll be going on to the next one, etc. You know, so just having some metadata for the user. We can get more sophisticated later and share and save exactly where they are on the video when we have our own video player.
Yeah, well, I was thinking it was more like when they're finished a chapter rather than the video, because the video is part of the chapter.
Correct. But we might, depending on how long the videos are, we might use that as well. I don't think we'll get to that. I think chapter progress is good enough for now. Like, whatever the last chapter is that you clicked in and didn't complete, that's where you will be on progress. So then we'll be able to dynamically calculate how far into the course you are as well, and say you're 60% complete this course or whatever else. So that's the progress saved on like how much you've completed, plus where you left off, giving people, when they jump back into the courses page or whatever else, that they can just jump straight back into the chapter where they are. They don't need to go find the course, go to it, whatever else.
Yeah. That makes sense. All right.
If we get the comments editor and things working well, another thing we can look at is adding notes to videos or course parts as well. This is just an idea. We might get this in for Hacktoberfest. It's just something when I'm thinking that we have. When I've left the editor and come back, notes would be handy for some sections.
Yeah.
Just so you can, while you're watching videos, you can take notes and save links or whatever else as you go through it. Yeah, but for the most part, I think
some kind of system for the FAQ as well for each chapter. If someone is running into some kind of issue, we want them to be able to easily to ask a question of the FAQ, right? Rather than being a passive person who reads the existing questions and answers, that there's some way to prompt them to say, ask, are you having trouble? Why not ask a question? And
and I think that's what the discussions are going to be used for under the video. We just have to make some way to prompt users, say, ask a question if you're stuck. Maybe that's even just a placeholder text inside the comment field, and hopefully people will use our Discord as well for asking questions and things as well. If it's just general, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Is AI going to take my job?
Yeah.
Like the usual questions that we get asked.
One preview.
Is it worth learning to code in 2025? Those videos are going to be coming out very soon.
Well, it's hilarious looking at the video. My YouTube feed is basically full of them types of videos at the moment.
Yeah, because it's such clickbait, because it's Panic Central. That's
Even Theo did one. I didn't watch it. I actually stopped watching him completely because he's too clickbaity.
No.
Absolutely.
No. Be nice. I'd never criticize.
Yes. But yeah, they're my feed.
After give me a feed of beers and I might change I'll suddenly become very opinionated and tell you exactly what I think.
Well, I think clickbait titles are kind of part of the YouTube. You just have to you have to play the game. It's not the way it is.
For sure.
But, it's annoying when you see a title and then the video doesn't match it at all in any way, which happens a lot.
That's true. Okay, so Smashing Magazine. Well, we really went into detail on this one.
Look, we'll leave it open. But I mean, what
is this even? I don't even remember metrics. I just didn't have too much on this, but yeah, it's probably good to track click through or whatever on these things. Yeah, I don't know what this was about. We should probably have a look and see what metrics we can add to that. That's a whole different thing in itself. But right now, I just love the way you just put Smashing Magazine as the description for this.
I'm trying to pull stuff out of your head, you see, and that's.
Let me just share what I was talking about. So in Smashing Magazine, they give you the jobs board, right? I'm going to start doing this here. Is about to see, right? We have the main page, basically, where you'll have 2 buttons. The wrong one. And then say it's like if you go to say jobs, we'll have this to find a job, and then to find a job, this like the jobs feed should be the whole picking the wrong box. I'm really terrible at Figma. So this is, I don't know why I made this dashed. How do I change that?
This
and then this is where we go post a job. And we have our form. This is why I need to get onto live streams to do these things, or I'll never ever actually sit down still long enough to do these things.
Just if I do it first.
Company name. They're all inputs, Fields we need. Oh, gee.
So are you thinking of this as more issues for Hacktoberfest? Because there's quite a lot involved in this as well.
Yep. Ideally, we will have our editor for this as well, because you'll see what I'm thinking now in a second. So what we want to have on this is we'll want to have the company name, logo. So that'll be a button, basically. We can have an upload button to the logo. So we'll just say, I'll just put a button just here. Just that's enough for me. The little circle will not remind me what that's for. Job title. We probably want the this will probably be like a drop down of sorts with a multi-select skills thing, you know. Add some notes here. What else we need? Probably the location. So this is why I was talking about having, say, the same as the comment editor, you know, so you can add like bold, italic, whatever else. A few checkboxes will probably be needed as well.
I'm actually going to look up Smash Magazine jobs. Thought the idea was you just like the simplicity of it.
That's exactly what this is. This is as simple as it gets.
So company name, company logo, job title. They have skills, and they have just 3 checkboxes: design, programming, or other. Location, and then they have checkboxes: work can be done remotely, relocation assistance provided, or visa sponsorship provided. Don't think we're going to go down that route. Description, application form, URL. So I guess that most companies would have application on their own website. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Then a terms and conditions checkbox. That's it.
Sponsor shop. And so what are we missing? Application form URL, probably job types as well. Like it's not a small form, but like it's simple, you know?
Yeah, there's very little involved. I think I've never looked at it, but I'd say if you're trying to post a job on LinkedIn, they demand quite a few details, or any other of the big jobs boards.
Probably add these in there. We can. I don't think the order of things really matters here as much. I like the job type as well. That's a pretty handy one.
I guess the description might be a little bit larger. There'd be quite a bit involved. Some of these descriptions are very long.
Yeah, that's why I just have that there as a large box that can be resized, you know. Like again, does this look like a design? But it's good enough. If we have components in like, and this is the nice part, is if we have good components and a good component library, these designs should be easy to follow. Because you will say use the X component, use the whatever, and then it should make some sense as well. And and then we can say whatever. Cost.
Funny enough, there's actually no jobs posted on Smashing Magazine.
Yeah. It's not something I think they use too much. I think they get most of their stuff from, sponsor or whatever else, hosts and whatnot. And then terms. That's going to be a very full of terms and a checkbox with the terms. Then that will just bring us into of either one, like we'll have canned products, one or the other product, basically. So you're either buying full-time or freelance jobs, and we'll put in just straight out to that there as well. I think that's probably the most intuitive with it, and hence why I was like, even for like, I'll probably end up going back and making something like this for these, but say like we have X components, now that we have like, well, your PR is about to be closed, I'll put that in very soon, and we'll add that components in. We'll say, well, we have the form components now. We know we have all the components you could possibly need for this stuff. The only thing we don't have is the new editor component. Like that text editor component is probably one that's going to be important for a lot of things, I think, for comments, discussions, etc., descriptions. That whole thing is going to be a little bit of a beast.
Yeah, it's a bit more complicated than the other issues, really, that one. So
yeah, and hence why we can say like this is an issue of creating this in alpha. There is also something else I was thinking of that might be useful as well for going through it. I use Fathom Analytics as well. I'm gonna put this down here as a completely different thing. Current is use Fathom. I would like to try out PostHog. Hog. And there is a reason. They have metrics and they have feature flags. Because it would be nice if we could feature flag on and off things for our own testing, even in production. So if something's working, we can test it, turn it on, off, etc. And they are reasonably rated things. So there is the whole setting up configuration for PostHog.
And what does PostHog offer that UseFathom doesn't?
Feature flags, A/B testing, surveys. I'm actually reading their thing. It sounds like I'm reading an ad for them now. They just seen that they have it's an open source analytics platform. They have
just a lot more features than UseFathom's.
A lot more metrics. And as we're getting, like, we get whatever 12,000 different people a month at the moment, and we get very, very basic metrics, and it's been fantastic. But as we roll out courses and everything else, I can see this getting a lot more complicated very quickly as well. So that's why I'm also thinking of these things, as something that we should look in. Feature flags is one of the big ones because, for instance, rolling out the new editor, if that goes well, great. if it doesn't, at least we can turn it back off and have the old editor, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
And add in features, etc. So if we push something, a new feature into development, we can hide it behind a feature flag. Instead of, say, I have the whatever alpha route at the moment, we can have feature flags to turn things on and off in different environments, which I think would be very useful.
That would be great, actually. Yeah, we're going to look into that.
So I think it's just a very cool tool by the looks of things from a distance. So I'd like to see if we should add some of that stuff in. It has a ton of features that I probably won't use as well. But for the most part, we'll say we want to go from Fathom to this. I want to keep Fathom for a while because I don't want to lose all my I don't want to lose all my...
What, your historic analytics?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Your historic metrics?
Yeah. But yeah, so this hopefully this makes sense, does it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Again, another issue is getting this configured and set up. It should be easy, no doubt. It seems to have phenomenal documentation as well. So big fan, really big fan of their product for engineers newsletter as well. So they've sold me on just by repeatedly sending me good newsletters that aren't.
Yeah, well, I think it's a bit above the good first issues though. Something a bit more.
Yeah, it's a bit more meaty, but it's still an issue there as well. We have that. Sorry, it's just I want to make sure it was something I was looking at last night and this morning as well into like how hands-on is it. So we will probably take that out and do it. I might even take that as an issue myself because there's a lot of environment variables and everything else to set up. I'm going to set it up on the events app first, just because it's new and it'll be easy to see how it runs first without causing any havoc. And then from there,
makes sense.
What else do we have then? Discussions, red style upvoting, downvoting, but with hidden votes. Visible to admins probably for the moment would be useful. Again, I don't know. These are all just things we need to get metrics wise so that we can upgrade the algorithm. And the algorithm is just like, oh shit, how do we react to people using our app like this? So yeah, that's a discussion stuff. Again, it's reliant on our comments issue. That's a really big issue for somebody to get early, is that comments, tip-tap comments box. Or maybe we'll even try and get that knocked out in the next 2 weeks ourselves, just so it's there. Because then that would open up a lot of more issues in parallel.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a shortage of issues we have now at the moment. But yeah, definitely that's a pivotal one.
Yeah, and then the redesign, the component library we started, standardized design system. I don't know if I'll ever standardize anything. Knowing me.
Well, I think it does make sense.
Incremental integration is huge. So like going to the new color scheme. So for context for anyone that's watching this is the newer theming of sorts. This is just a bad version of it, but it's
never ending praise in this job. But see, that was I told you that was my plan all along. Do it badly, and then you would feel compelled to do it yourself.
Yeah, it worked. It worked. Fucking worked. Damn you, JP. You're playing 3D chess.
Yeah.
At least you're showing me what I don't like. That's nice.
Yeah, well, see, I mean, no one can read your mind, like, obviously. So it's very hard, I think, for people. When I just feel like if we really, if we nail down the details of issues, people will take them. Whereas if we're really vague about stuff, people won't take it because they won't know. So
yeah, agreed, 100%. You're dead right. And the thing is, we are trying to be as friendly to newcomers to open source as possible with all the stuff that we're doing for this as well. So yeah,
I guess again it comes down to we need to break the issues out into stuff like adding a new input on a form. There's a good few pieces like that. That's a great first issue. But I mean, if people have more experience, it maybe would be great for them to come to us and say, listen, I have a bit more experience than just adding a new input. And we could kind of guide them then.
Yeah,
if it came to that.
And we will. What we'll do is we can do these open source office hours as well as we're going through these things, make sure people are answered. Yeah, and try and help people as they go through these things as well. I think we've gotten through a ton of things. Is there anything else that we need to get through today, JP, or how are we doing?
We're good. I'll break the stuff we've covered today.
Nonsense.
And we can break
we've
it down a bit
some
more.
Shit, and we are ready.
I'll get on to you to complete those to-dos that you've added to the list.
Yeah, I'll get them done this week. That's useful. I do think just some of these drawings, once we have our components and things, will be useful just to throw it all in. Yeah, it's nice. It's some good progress. I'm really excited to see what progress we make on the whole platform over Hacktoberfest. So because we really did get a lot. 2 weeks. Yeah, and we're going to announce all this at our event, our in-person event, the Fiesta, to try and get a lot more people involved, as well as I'll be doing probably a lot more evening streams myself as well during the month, just to go over things and work on stuff myself, because I tend to work well when I have the accountability of a camera staring at me.
Yeah, well, I mean, the more interaction there is with people, or if people are, even if you do a stream where the option is for people to come onto the stream, that'd be great, because it would give people the opportunity to ask questions, look for clarifications, rather than doing it by text and GitHub issues, which can be lost or be slow to reply to.
Yeah, and we do have the Discord for that, is for the asynchronous stuff, and the chat that we can jump into the calls and have some fun with all this as well. So I think it's useful for folks, hopefully. But yeah, I think we've probably going to have about 30, 40 issues created by this time next week. We might try and do some coding, pair programming on some of the editor stuff next week, potentially, to see what progress we personally can make on some of the editor stuff, because I know that will hold up a lot of people, and that is very subjective and a lot harder to give to people, because a lot of the stuff is just, I like that, I don't like that, give it in and back. Oh,
this is Daniel.
Is this Daniel? I hope it's Daniel. So. Is it Daniel?
It is.
I'll only answer it if it has to be. Yeah. A blast from the past. What is the... So what I was thinking is no backwards compatibility to begin. And just having basically a type tag or an enum on the tables itself to say this is V2 or V1. Yeah, it's Daniel, the legend himself. So the backwards compatibility, because that was becoming an issue, was the backwards compatibility issue on this stuff. Geez, Daniel should come onto the stream with us next week and talk us through the editor. He's basically built the entire editor. What was I talking about?
Backwards compatibility.
Yeah, backwards compatibility. So what I was thinking is, until we get the new one up and running properly, that's definitely the goal this year, is what we'll do is have the 2 versions, and then we'll write a migration script to migrate all of the old markdown posts, like run the markdown through something to get the JSON back out of it, basically. So to create those nodes from the markdown. because it is a tree, an AST that we can use. So we should be able to create all of the stuff we need to with a script. And that should then fix that problem. We'll have them all stored in the exact same format then as well. Yeah, good old code mods. That sounds like excitement if I ever heard it.
He's ready.
So
he's volunteering to jump on next week, Daniel.
Yeah, it is definitely a fun topic, but worst case, I would just have 2 different formats of it, or even just have an archive and say these are archive posts and save them statically or something. JS code shift. There we go. His brain is already working. Well, there's something to think
he's
about.
Ready.
He's ready to rock. I think we'll get somewhere with it, because that's something that's been tricky to me in my own head as well, as how we manage both. And I know last year, Daniel, when we were talking about this, we thought potentially that we would save it all as Markdown from the TipTap format and migrate to Markdown and save it as Markdown. I think it was, now that I'm playing with it again, I think we'll just save it as a completely new version, get all the benefits of JSON and Postgres, because we can dump that, edit out, save the raw text for search in a different column as well. And then we will have the best of everything as well. And then we don't need to worry about the Markdown anymore. And the Markdown will become our rich text editor and JSON then as well. We were trying to bend TipTap to us, so I think we should bend to TipTap instead to get the benefit of all of that. So yeah, I think that's it. I think we're good to go, JP. I'm going to head off, and yeah, cool. You didn't even drop too many times, so
yeah, it was actually pretty good. Virgin, that's great. No, this is Gomo. I'm Gomo, so I have to give them some credit.
Gomo, yeah, there you go.
10 euro per month.
Stream. 10 euro. There you go.
Right. Okay, cool. Right, see you.
World's worst advertisement right there. There we go. Done. It was good to chat to you. I'm sure we'll be all catching up later as well.
Right.
See you later.